Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Game Arena Fall Summoner Series. I am Kamika, and this is Diadem, and we are actually taking a little bit of a detour from the winner's bracket now. We're instead going to be going and seeing first seed Gwavity versus sixth seed Tiffin, mostly because we are so shocked and astonished how the top seed managed to lose their first game, and we're going to see if they can get out of it, basically.
Yeah, I mean, a big upset, obviously, coming out of OSU. We watched their first game. We knew that they were rocking, but definitely rocking on a caliber we didn't expect because Gwavity is now meeting Tiffin. This is the 1 seed versus the 6 seed in this losers quarterfinal. So I'm excited to see kind of how they want to draft around it, what decisions they want to make differently, especially compared to their first game, and kind of how they want to attack Tiffin because Tiffin definitely on the back foot in this matchup. So I'm excited to see what they want to pull out.
Yeah, at least bracket wise on the back foot, but we'll see how on the back foot they actually are. I brought it up in the very beginning, funnily enough, that you can be a really high ranked team but still lose because the other team is just better coordinated than you on a team base level. And we're already seeing some bans coming out here. Lucian, he's okay with Nami, so just banning out one of the two of them is a pretty okay thing to do. Talia is probably more of like a targeted ban. She's like pretty decent in the meta right now, but she's not someone you would actively go for.
Yeah, the Talia ban definitely just kind of shutting down stuff. Uh, a lot of dashes in the game, a lot of dash champions, especially really strong. So making sure that you can set yourself up a little bit better is pretty good. And then the Ashe coming in with the ban too. Ashe is one of the stronger ADCs on 1419. Mainly pretty much anybody that can build on hit is a lot stronger than crit right now. So Ashe being one of those best people to build on hit, you can go that Kraken build and it just works out really well. But Tiffin finishing it off with a ban to the J4 and a ban to the Malphite.
Yeah, Nash has also got one of the most annoying CCs to go up against in the entire game for an ADC at the very least. And
Yep.
so, yeah, banning out the Braum here as well, just looking to get rid of a lot of major CC sources and counter engage champs. So my guess with that Braum ban is that they're going to be looking to pick up some sort of engage tank support to go along with
Yeah.
their bot lane matchup.
Probably like a Nautilus or something
Hmm.
around that line. But it's a bit interesting because usually you see an Ash ban or you see a Braum ban in response to like an Ash pick. You don't really see both of them together, knowing that it's a really strong bot lane. But obviously, Gwavity probably had some scouting on Tiffin, knew what they wanted to pick, and Tiffin locking Jinx first.
Yep, they might go along with like Jinx Nautilus or something like that, or something like that. But Gravity, I wouldn't be too shocked if they tried to fight for the Nautilus as well. Here,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly why the Braum is banned because he completely counters Nautilus. Aurora can be flexed in a couple of different ways, top or mid. I would very be shocked to see if we went Aurora bot because even though we've got these all these mages in the bot lane and stuff like that, I would still be shocked to see Aurora down there.
Definitely. I mean, Aurora just has a lot of agency as a character. It's really, really strong to pick early in a lot of lanes because even if a losing matchup, you can still neutralize and your ult still allows you to be useful, especially with that malignant thrust that we see so popular on her. So picking it up early does open up a lot of space for your team to kind of draft for some counters. And Tiffin, immediately with the Alistar response to this Nautilus, not the first time we've seen this Alistar today, but
Mhm.
definitely one of the more comfort picks for that counter engage, making sure that you can protect your carries because Tiffin's definitely going to try and just centralize and get this Jinx ahead.
Yeah, definitely very good peel for the Jinx, and the same thing with the Skarner here as well. It's something that we saw being picked up a lot in the last game that we saw is very protect the carry oriented comp, where they don't do like a whole lot of damage, but they have a whole lot of CC and are able to enable a hyper carry like Jinx. It didn't go too well for the last team that went this route, but we'll see how it goes this time around.
Yep. And Silas picked up early rotation as well. So obviously you have Aurora and Silas being pretty flexed here. Silas probably going to go mid. Aurora might be looking for top. We
Mhm.
genuinely don't know yet. Gravity might just pull something out of left field. But Tiffin, I like the Skarner pick. Being honest, I know that picking up two tanks and Jinx kind of makes it hard because Gravity now has the option to ban out a lot of your carries, a lot of your damage. But Skarner is so strong right now in this patch that you can kind of play him top, you can play him jungle, you can flex him, and he just is such a health stacking tank. So Gravity, gonna make sure You don't get any more damage on the side of that top. Gonna ban out the Camille.
Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing Skarner in the jungle because with this current comp lineup, it's very likely he's going up against Aurora top. So him being a health stacking tank means that he would be pretty much eaten alive, quite literally. It'd be like sautéed scorpion for dinner or something like that. But yeah, banning the Galio out, good decision because you don't want Galio to be going up against Silas. Galio is a very strong counter pick to mages in general, Silas as well. And so putting those two together with his 53% win rate, he would be a terrible thing to be going up against for Silas.
Yeah, no, definitely not only just like with how strong Galio is, but like you were talking about earlier, that kind of protect the carry comp. Galio
Mm.
works perfectly with that. You run not only just counter engage with the ult on Jinx in case he gets dove by Silas, but also now you have Skarner as almost if you're familiar with Nocturne Oriana ball delivery, it's kind of Galio delivery because Skarner just ease in and you ult right on Skarner and you have that engage right there.
Very true. Having people like Skarner on the team, or even like hey Alistar or someone like that, it makes it very easy target for Galio to ult onto. And speaking of someone you
Right.
mentioned for the Nocturne delivery, there's a Nocturne up in here going up against a Skarner. Nocturne has the ability to he's a very good duelist in the 1v1 scenario early on in the beginning, but depending on what Tiffin goes here, oh, I was about to say if they pick someone that
Right.
can do a strong jungle mid 2v2, which they don't do, they could potentially hurt Nocturne, but instead they're going for a very scaly comp.
They locked it. They locked it. Yeah. You have so much health on the side of Tiffin here. It's a bit scary. Your damage is going to be a little bit lacking early, I feel like, but obviously they haven't B5 yet, so we got to see what they want to pick up. They just have to be careful. You need definitely a little bit more damage here because Rise
And
needs that one item spike. Jinx needs that one item spike. Um,
oh,
Fiora, okay,
Fiora. I
all
like
right.
that one.
Yeah, honestly, I really like it here as a blind. Not only do you have a lot of CC to play off of, but I think Gwavity's hardest time is that they don't really have a solo laner yet. They need like because they have to pick up either an AD or a top tier. Um, it's really hard to flex anything else. So if you pick up, I'm thinking an AD here. Who really can realistically side lane against Fiora?
Yeah, and I think also the
And,
Fiora
okay, yeah,
is I think the Fiora is also what's it called? Yeah, she enables them to do a couple of different things. Like you already got like a ton of tankiness on the team, so all you really need is a damage or like even a split pusher, and Fiora fills both those categories. So I think that's just a really good overall decision. Going into the late game, Tiffin is going to be pretty freaking disgusting, dude. I just think that, in my opinion, they have sort of outdrafted Gwavity here just a little bit. Obviously, it comes down to the ease of execution. Rise's ult, it is a little bit difficult to execute in a useful way. Skarner, his ult can be missed, but like he's still pretty easy to hit with it. But I don't know. I'm just looking at the ult potential for Silas, and there aren't too many good ones aside from Skarner, to be honest with
yeah. I
you.
think the issue is that Tiffin drafted kind of those B4 B5 knowing that Silas was on the map, so obviously you can't give him any ultimates, you can't take that pick, but it did kill a lot of their team fighting because what
Hmm.
happens is you have Skarner and Alistar go in, right? Fiora has a hard time getting into team fights a lot of the time because when she dashes, her only peel is her W. It's what makes her a great side laner and way less of a team fighter, right? Is that you're very good at isolated targets, but in group settings you do have a lot of DPS fall off. And Rise, who's great at front to backing, needs to just stick with Jinx. So you kind of find into the issue of Gravity can land, like pretty much just slam their ults down in any team fight and can win it here. But Tiffin has the advantage across the map. So if
Yeah.
Tiffin can play their spacing and can play their map really well here, you can force Gravity into not taking 5v5s, which I think is best case scenario for you here until at least like you were talking about, you get the time to scale up with those picks.
Yeah, just looking at things, the things I'm foreseeing here a little bit is, yeah, like you said, Gravity just slamming down their ults in the team fights, like Nautilus ult, Aurora ult, Silas maybe takes Skarner's ult, or hey, even maybe Alistar, and just tries to be a little bit tanky in the fight. Nocturne engages. What I'm thinking is they really have to lean heavily into this Fiora, like we were talking about, for this side lane push, because they no one really, besides the Nocturne, can 1v1 the Fiora, especially if she is like on an even or fed state. So you would
Yep.
have to send the Nocturne up after her, which, if she times it well, could lead to them not having Nocturne in time for a Dragon or the Baron or things like that. It just really has the opportunity to disrupt it, and I'm looking at that in particular for Tiffin to be a big thing that enables them to win some of these fights.
Yeah, but I think that's my final thing is that if Tiffin can play the side lanes well and get to their scaling points, it's great. But Gwavity is gonna want to have to take these fights.
Yep. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will see in just a little bit if Tiffin can weather the storm of Silas, Aurora, Nocturne, and Jin throwing down the gauntlet in the early game, because that's definitely what they're going to be doing. Or if they can scale to the late game, Fiora split pushes, and they just do a ton of damage towards the end and are able to overcome our first seed in Gravity right after this break. Don't go anywhere. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Summoner's Rift. I mistimed it a little bit that time, but yeah, it looks like we're going for a little bit of a interesting little ward play up here up top to see if we can catch out the Fiora. What do you think about this diadem?
I like it. Honestly, you know that Fiora is gonna have to try and take onto this bush. She is weakest level 1, right? So you're immediately gonna take this top side. I wouldn't mind if Nautilus just flashed here. All right, looking for the hook in the bush, not going to be able to find it. They will have to back up, but Tiffin now just has a bit of prio. There's the ward drop. Maybe Gravity's looking for a ward drop late, but they're going to just have to, wait a couple of seconds here so it doesn't time out. Silas walking up pretty strong here, just going to dash back. Looks like they are going to take the Silas mid lane, got the Aurora top like we expected.
Yeah.
And overall, should be a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, and by the way, I realized that I misspoke and said that Gravity was outdrafted by Tiffin. I meant to say the actual opposite of that, ladies and gentlemen. Gravity, we were talking about it, and we don't know where a lot of Tiffin's damage, especially in this early game, is going to come from. They are very, very tanky in the Skarner and the Alistar, and early on, Rise doesn't do a whole lot of damage either, so it is really going to be a weathering of the storm type scenario, and it's not going to be until very late that they can maybe hold a candle to their opponents in terms of damage.
Yep. I mean, I can see like being positive for the side of Tiffin here is that Rise benefits from really drawn out fights, right?
Mhm.
Burst heavy comps are just not really the best synergy when you have Rise on your team as well. So when you have kind of these healthier tanks, your DPS slowly spikes, like almost like a graph that slowly goes up. As the fight goes on, Rise just gets exponentially more and more DPS as he gets to layer his abilities and gets his cooldowns off. So that is the nice thing for Tiffin, but until Rise gets like one item, he's not going to be DPSing like that. And you have Silas, Jin, Nocturne, Aurora on the side of Gwavity who can all output some DPS from levels 3 to 6.
Yeah, as someone who's played Rise a decent amount, though, if you do get to 3 items, though, like an EQ does like it does close to like 700 to 1,000 damage. So you gotta be very careful about letting things go on too long and letting him go uncontested.
Yep, it definitely. You just have to be really, really careful with it. You're gonna see Aurora taking this Demolish and the Grass proc in the top lane. Just a lot of trades. Blue Light just not being able to walk up to this fight. But Ditto taking the tower shot there from the auto attack and not hitting the Q. Now just having to back and allow Blue Light to farm. A little bit of a misstep, but I like the aggressiveness.
Yeah, that was kind of spooky there for a second for the Aurora. I thought she was gonna get close to being dead there. Almost did, but obviously being pushed under tower and that far away, the Aurora wasn't gonna be able to catch her. But yeah, the wave state is still decent enough if we could just mouse back up there for just a little bit. I want to see if Fiora has a freeze or not. She does not have a freeze, but she's going to be still TPing back up there anyway, just to make sure that Fiora can't get a good back because she's low health.
Yeah, you just gotta make sure you walk up, especially because there's a lot of XP in this wave. Even if you're not just like hitting the minions, you just need to be there so that you can stay on level with this, because in top lane more than most, XP is everything. Right? A lot of the times you're okay, especially in a terrible matchup. Like, I know a lot of matchups facing Darius do this as well, where, hey, if you just can't step up, you can't step up, right? But you're seeing topside, both junglers packed up here, and Fisher friends immediately just going to walk in on this Skarner here, trying to just take this. Nope, Skarner pulls it back. Looks like none of them have smite for it, just trying to queue over. Not going to stay too long, obviously, knowing that the Fiora is moving. Just going to back up. Smite, excuse me, Skarner still gets it off.
Yep. So it looks like nothing really too crazy happening just yet. A little bit of a CS lead going one way, going the other way. Ryze should be able to easily walk this one off. Going to be doing a little bit of damage on the way out here. And Skarner coming in for a little bit of assistance as well. Is he going to try and contest him for the scuttle down here? It's a possibility that he was going for a double scuttle, but with the bot prio, it should be able to get it.
Yep. You have to be definitely just calling right there that, hey, bot lane has push. Can't really do much. It's a bit rough for Nautilus in this lane, especially early, because when Alistar kind of hits level 2, level 3, if you hit a hook, you end up dying, right? Like, there's really no counterplay to that, especially the only look you can have is if you can't hit the ADC while he's separated, it's a bit rough for you. So this bot lane, gonna lose the early push at least a little bit, but nicely CSing here, just gonna be caught up a little bit ahead, especially as these first objectives start.
Yep, neither of the junglers have been able to get a back off just yet, so I'm not sure that they're going to be trying to either of them go for the objectives just yet, just having a lot of gold not spent. But Gwavity is in a good opportunity here to where they could go for the dragon. Nocturne is still there in the push, but again, he hasn't gotten a single back off yet. And just as I'm saying that, Fiora is going to be dying top lane off screen, and just gotten a little bit beat to the level 6, it looks like, and Flash tried to flash out but couldn't quite get it.
Yeah, definitely. Also, really nice fight, but we're kind of seeing just a little bit of health that lived on Voidstar going in for an engage as well. Procs the electric. You're going to be able to trade Steel's Rise ult. Getting ready to port, I guess. Probably if like you have tower dive, you're able to drop port backwards and then tower dive, get the kill and port back. Silas tends to do that a lot, but no, now taking a pretty good trade. You're seeing the effectiveness of Grasp in that top lane, especially just for the little bit of extra health and regen in those fights. Against Fiora, who loves to just drain tank you too, so we'll have to see with this topside objective. Rotated out of Calamity, already up, Nautilus taking that vision prio, and this first couple of Krugs is going to go to Gwavity.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little bit worried here for Tiffin, because not only is now Fiora behind on kills and CS, but Silas is starting to really have his way like his Burger King with Ryze in the mid lane here as well. He's already got a very strong item spike. Look at the items that Silas is building. He's building just pure damage. And Ryze is only building mana, which he's not really getting anything off of just yet, even damage. So a fight between him and Silas would be incredibly one-sided. And as we go...
Immediately just shredding right there. Skarner picked it up, and that will be first kill for Tiffin University. You did blow both flashes out of jungle and support, but obviously support got the Hex Flash. Really worth for you. You make Jhin lose a lot of that wave, and you're going to give Jinx a bit of an advantage.
That is true. Yeah, still getting incredibly bullied here, Fiora. And like we were mentioning earlier with the XP being one of the reasons for the TP, we do see now that Aura is 7 ahead, and Nocturne is trying to come in here for a dive with Nautilus here as well. But being half HP still does have the ult, though.
Yep, might be able to just auto W this. Nope, not going to be able to time it. Yeah, just a ditto, just instantly bursting her down.
Yeah, and it looks like a little bit of a later rotation from Ryze and Skarner, but yeah, he's going to be realizing that, oh, this is actually a really rough rotation for Skarner to have made, because as you can see from the minimap, Nocturne took all of his camps, so this is going to be just an opportunity for Nocturne to back for free, while also Skarner's not catching up to him at all.
Yep. I think right now, best part about Tiffin University is that they have a lead in that bot side just by a slight amount, right? And you have kind of mid just still brawling a little bit, so I think you can fight over this dragon, because a lot of the lead that Gwavity has right now is in their 2-0 top side. So as long as Aurora doesn't TP, which she doesn't have TP up right now, I think you can set up and take this fight, as Alistar immediately jumps in. Not going to be able to land the Jinx W as Nautilus starts to zone out, but here comes Skarner over the wall, just dashing in, not just swerve it right back around, not going to find anything. Oh, here comes Silas.
Silas with a flash.
Immediately,
ult
this steals the
grab.
Skarner ult. Yep, gonna pull him back. There's suppressed. There's a 3-man knockup, but it's not gonna be enough. Voidstar picks up the first kill of this fight. The exhaust pops out on Nocturne. The Jinx ult pops out from the back too. Still gets the hook as well, pulling to the side. That's one. Looking for the second. The Chin W doesn't land though. They are gonna trade for the Nautilus kill, but that is still very worth for Gwavity.
Yep.
Oh, they're just rediving. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely zero reason not to. This Alistar should be dead as a doornail, no matter what way you cut it. TPing back to mid, Ryze should have probably been able to get a plate in this meantime, and I think he did, but it looks like...
Oh, really
I got trapped in here with you! Oh, the auto, though! Oh, I couldn't get the auto off in time! The Fiora and Ditto is going to be surviving with basically no HP again. 3 kills! Almost 3 solo kills. 2 solo kills on the Fiora now.
So close, too. These kills have literally just been neck and neck. That parry really, really well timed too, but another engage right here. Skarner's there to catch it. Nautilus gets pulled under tower here, just gonna have to back up, but the ult on Sylas is gonna be enough. Apple picking up the first kill here.
Yeah, and he does have a Dark Seal too, interestingly enough. I'm actually very shocked at how much damage Ryze was able to output, considering the only damage-giving item he has was an unstacked Dark Seal, and Sylas had a fully completed Rocket Belt. So, yeah, just very well played there by Tiffin. I guess caught Sylas while he was not expecting to get ulted on by Skarner, who's actually going for another crazy play bot.
Yeah, they're just flying around this map. A really, really nice Jin W under the tower here. Nautilus ult as well is going to keep him locked in, and Applause. And Applause and Alec Calamity being able to turn that dive into a kill for them.
Honestly, I feel like that was just a little bit too much from the Skarner. He got a lot of great value by getting basically a free kill for the Ryze. In the mid lane, he had to use his ult for it, but he still went bot for the turret dive anyway up against Nautilus and Jhin, so I think that's definitely a play you could have done without.
Yeah, it's kind of just like jungle timings here as well, because you see, although we are getting a lot more like Skarner screen time, I'd say, of him like flying around, Nocturne is up 30 CS, right? Like, Nocturne has been in the fights that he needs. He's 2-0-2, and still is up on CS, just timing his roams, timing his ganks a little bit better.
He's also 2 levels up, and it's looking like Fiora trying to go for the lane swap gets absolutely obliterated, literally in the blink of an eye. This Nocturne is just looking so incredibly fed, dude. It's not looking good for Fiora.
And we saw why the early roams top were such a big thing, and why we were calling it out like, hey, they are going for this, because if you put this Fiora if you put this Fiora behind and get this Aurora ahead, you're really sitting pretty, but Fisher Friends immediately getting exhausted. Does spell shield the stun, but it's not going to be enough. Ryze takes the shutdown. Jhin ulti now in the backline. Aurora comes in as well, hits the ult. There's 3 people stuck in it, 4 people dead, and now pulling back to the side. Alec Calamity gets the pass in. Gonna die to Fiora. Fiora picks up the first kill, but that's a triple kill, and looking for the 4th one as well on blue light. The E from the Sylas not going to land. Still trying to extend this, and that's a quadra kill for just Ditto. The 5th one hanging down on the side, just trying to escape.
He wants the Penta. He's going.
He wants it, yeah. Not going to be able to find it.
Unlucky for Ditto not getting the pentakill live on stream. That would have been a first though. But yeah, either way you cut it, Gwavity is just looking absolutely disgusting. Most of their kills are concentrated in this Aurora, but that's not necessarily like a bad thing. She is a hell of a snowballing type of champ, and so yeah, her managing to be that far ahead of Fiora, shutting her down so immensely, and being able to rotate through these team fights and be so monumental in that. I think WinCon is definitely being reached already from Gwavity before 15.
Yep. I think now it's a bit of time for Tiffin to slow the game down and try and just get the scaling going, because although you did get a quadra kill over to Ditto, you did get at least 1 more kill on Ryze, right? I'm trying to see things on the positive side here, so
no, you are
get a
right
little bit more
that.
gold. We see Light already just on this top side. Ditto just weaving auto attacks. Impossible to run away there. Gets the E off, not going to be able to find the burst, but the final Q pullback is going to be enough.
Yeah, he had the final Q proc onto him, and oh man, if I'm blue light, I'm not a happy camper right now, dude. You literally cannot walk into lane. You can't walk into really any lane with how far behind you are. And they're gonna try their damnedest, but it looks like Skarner ult is gonna get off, but unfortunately, the Skarner's just a little bit too tanky. Got a little bit too much health from the Heartsteel, and they will trade 1-for-1.
Yeah, I always love Skarner ulting under tower there because it kind of brings it under tower. You don't want to drag it too close to your teammate, so you just go, here you go, here you go, take him. Like, I don't want him. But immediately the E over the wall as well. Gonna have to flash out the Silas, but Silas flashes it too. Gets the pullback. The slow won't be enough though. Probably just not enough mana for that full rotation again. Gonna have to just back up.
Yep, and now Aurora taking that topside turret is free to go pretty much wherever she wants. Probably going to even try to lane swap with the Silas so that she can stack even more golden snowball even harder with this mid lane turret grab for herself. And also, Ryze is in a position where he can do some stuff up against Silas at this point. So putting Aurora here just even further just knocks Ryze into submission.
Yep. And now looks like Gwavity is just gonna rotate topside. Gonna be able to take this Rift Herald. If Tiffin was able to contest this, I'd be really surprised. So it's gonna be free here. We have to see where they want to try and drop this, especially with Infernal Dragon coming up a minute. Only one dragon being taken this game at 15 minutes is pretty slow, right? Not really what we expect, but definitely understandable with just how much has been going on around the map, especially if you just look at the KP top side. So now with that Rift Herald, you have a bit of an engage in the spot side. Skarner is just here again. Alec Calamity, really tanky, just trying to pull back, gets the Q to the tower, and will be able to save themselves. Applause, just trying to clear out with a deadly flourish.
Nocturne pushing mid. He does
Yeah, they might look for a turn
up.
here.
They may look for a turn. And they're both Silas and him are going down here. The curtain call is going. The wave is not quite there, but Aurora is here. They could go, and the Skarner ult completely whiffs. Yes, they're going to be going for this 3-man dive. The wave has arrived, and so has the Aurora and the Nocturne. Insta-dead is going to be Jinx, and pretty much everybody else. The damage output is just so disgustingly massive, and it's a triple kill for the Nocturne.
Yep, and that, I think, is going to be game at this point. We are sitting at almost an 8k gold lead here, 16 minutes into the game. Rift Herald being dropped here. I would be surprised if they don't get a tier 3, especially because it looks like Tiffin University is just going to be trying to trade mid tier 1 at least for this. So they're going to drive this Rift Herald, get another charge off. You have Applause and a lot of Void Grubs, and they're just going to drift it. He might be looking tier 2. Ah, you missed.
I think he was trying to drift it to mid, but yeah, unfortunate his turn there.
I like it.
Surprisingly really hard to do that, honestly.
Yeah, no. I honestly, if he could have done it, I would have been really surprised, but either way, still a great play for Gwavity, being able to crack that tier 2. That is a lot of gold in their pocket.
Like, literally, I've seen pros in Worlds not be able to do that, so no marks against him.
Don't worry, I'll never judge anybody's Rift Herald drive because I've seen like top of the game pros hop and Rift Herald and drive backwards. But I mean, speaking of driving, Skarner is going to be looking over the wall here. Silas going to interrupt him. Alec Calamity stuck in a really rough spot. A really nice flash over the wall though, dodging the sidestep on the Jinx and the Skarner rock. And that's going to be first Drake for, second Drake for Gwavity.
Yeah, and all the while they're getting these objectives, Tiffin hasn't really been able to catch up much at all. If you saw while they were getting the Rift Herald or doing anything else like that, Fiora was stuck sitting in a bush for about a minute just because she cannot walk up the sides. At the same time in the bot lane, they're trying to force a play rather than farming, and they're getting killed. And Ryze is getting bullied mid by Aurora off the wave, so it's just incredible use of your map pressure from Gwavity. Tiffin University during all these fights are just able to get absolutely nothing, and the snowballing is getting out of control at this point.
Yeah, I think the rough part for Tiffin is just it's kind of a slow bleed, right? Like you talked about, there's not really a lane that you can match with one another, but you have just enough wave clear to kind of save yourself from getting all these turrets taken. So Gwavity is kind of just playing out until this Baron spawns in a minute. Gonna take that Baron, usually on spawn. I think they just have to rush it, and then we'll have to see how Tiffin wants to answer, because quite frankly, that might be their last shot at getting back in this game.
Yeah, and I feel like they're feeling the same thing as well. They were trying to force a fight in the jungle there, try to get something, anything. Even though if that turned into a bigger fight, they probably would have lost. I feel like they're just desperate for anything to happen at this point. and they're just trying to make a big play to potentially win or lose the game here. And oh, they might have found it on a Silas, knocking even
Yeah, he's
further away
on
from
vision.
safety.
He gets bumped away, looking to E to a minion, not going to be able to find it. The Skarner ult coming in as well from the flash, and that's going to be a pick for the side of Tiffin. Definitely what they needed, really good vision control around that bot side.
Yeah. Although Gwavity is doing the good thing at this point by realizing, hey, the entire enemy team just went down there to kill Silas, so let's go up here and just siege down some turrets. So they're really letting nothing go for free. Even though it was a kill on the Silas, it wasn't one of the shutdowns, and they're also getting a turret for it.
Yep, and they're going to immediately engage with the spot side as well. Alistar going pretty deep. Skarner didn't hit the lights, are turned off. The Aurora ult is popped, and Jinx is dead. Fish, our friend, picks up one. He picks up a second, looking for a third on Fiora, finds it, looking for the fourth. Out there, the Nautilus Q going to take that one. And now they have just full reign on the spot side. The only person left on Tiffin is the Lonely Rise, as he takes his long march back down mid lane.
Yeah, they may even go for, if they're feeling so bold, go for the end. And oh my god, yeah, they are.
You
Absolutely.
just end the
That
game.
was,
Yeah, 20 minute banger.
The rise. It's a 20-minute banger. Jinx is going to be back up and try to do something with Skarner, but all their turrets are down. Jinx is going to get knocked off of her abilities, and that will do it. Our #1 seed trying to claw their way back through the losers bracket. It all starts now.
Yep. I mean, the climb begins, and definitely with a definitive win over Tiffin University, finishing out that game at a 12K, almost 13K gold lead, is exactly kind of what you want. Seeing this one seed, fall behind a bit with their first game, losing against Ohio State, and then bouncing back in the losers quarterfinal, moving on to the semis, and hopefully getting to that losers final.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're going for a little bit of a Pantheon mentality. I don't know if you've played Pantheon or heard any of his voice lines, but one of
Oh
them is
no,
literally,
trust me.
I have been struck down so that I can climb once more. And that's exactly what Gwavity's doing right now.
Definitely. That's the attitude that you need. I mean, when you're in especially a land tournament, right? You just need to be able to take a couple of shots and be able to dish them right back. So, Gwavity moving on in this tournament. We still have Ohio State University versus UC Pink as well. And we are looking pretty nice for this formed out bracket.
Yeah, honestly, before we get into that, just any things that want to make some predictions going into this, because I have written down here for myself on this match that's going to be coming up against them, is that we got to be watching out for this Kane. We got to be watching out for the
Yep.
Jinx. I'm from shoot, what's their names? From UC Pink's side, I'm really looking at Rohan to be a big source of carrying potential for them. So it's basically jungle versus ADC in my personal opinion. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'd agree. Honestly, I think that the way that they play their games is a bit different because we saw OSU have a really strong focus on their bot side, right? Their ADC was very strong. They like to bring their jungle down. They dove many times, especially in the game that we were watching, and they had a lot of success with that. What we saw from UC Pink was that they like to play around the top side with that Kane, right? They definitely are a lot more jungle oriented. Although they lost a lot on their bot side, they gained a lot more from their mid to top. So it's going to be a bit interesting because OSU is definitely going to pull the trigger first, right? They're going to force down bot side, excuse me. They're going to force down and try and just make something happen. We have to see how UC Pink wants to split the map, especially if they're playing a carry jungle.
Yeah, and I do believe during their game we saw Viego being banned as well. So it wouldn't shock me if they just like outright ban Kane if he tries to pick up something like Viego or someone else that can carry from a jungle perspective, like maybe even Kindred. I don't know how good Kindred is this patch, to be totally honest. I haven't seen her
Yeah.
be played once, but yeah, just
Uh,
the carry potential from jungling from them is what I'm trying to hone in on here.
Yeah, the weakness of just like the Kane though is that you can't 1 to 3 pick it. If you 1 to 3 pick it, you just give too many times, or excuse me, too many options on the enemy team to actually counter pick it. So you kind of have to wait till that R4, R5 pick. So if they want to, they can hold off on the Kane ban early if they don't think he'll lock it early, and then they can probably ban it R4, R5.
That is true. It does open up that. So like if they pick like around the Kane without picking him early on, then they made him like, oh well, who else can we really put in this spot that can do the same things that Kane can? there's a lot of characters that can't do the same things that Kane can, just moving around the map like he can. There's not really a whole lot of characters that can do that. And so I see the predicament that you're saying here as well, but I'm sure that they realize that, oh, we can't just pick around having Kane this entire game, especially when we've already shown our hands so early on. So I'm sure that these guys got some strategies in their back pocket, which we will, I'm sure, see after this break.